Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
You'll be glad I didn't do my Inspector Mackenzie impression.
God, okay, yes, I'm glad you didn't do that.
For tonight, to honour Graham Crowden, we are looking at...
Raffles.
Mr. Raffles.
God, you still did it.
So, what's Raffles then, Lisa?
Raffles is it's a television series.
Is it?
From
Do we watch television?
We do watch television from 1975.
The pilot.
The pilot is 1975. This is what 70s.
This is episode 11.
Yeah.
Shown 1977.
Right. 70. Right. The pilot's 75.
On the 6th of May. Now we just better say.
Yeah.
6th of May.
Yeah.
Is a Friday.
So it's probably on about 8 o'clock. We don't actually. We have.
I don't have the listing.
We've got copies of Radio
We've probably
Times,
got it on a PDF somewhere, but I'd have to go through all the discs to find it. But on BBC One, things of note are Inch High Private Eye. What's wrong? Uncle Inch. Imagine being called Uncle Inch.
Yeah,
Fred Bassett. The Fantastic Journey. A brilliant BBC Genome slight sort of putting things together slightly wrong, because BBC Genome says The Fantastic Journey, a film series starring Riddles Varian. No, a film series starring sort of Roddy McDowall and whatever. This episode is called Riddles, and it says Varian and his fellow wanderers, but I don't like the idea of Riddles Varian as though he's some sort of... Anyway, a varian's a type of gas chromatograph. Oh, and also it's a knockout. 1977, Mansfield versus Macclesfield versus Wirksworth. The winner will go to represent Great Britain in Switzerland. But anyway, but as we said, this episode is Graham Crowden, isn't it?
Well, it's
the guest star.
Featuring Graham Crowden.
But our stars are
Anthony Valentine,
as
who is there on the cover, and Christopher Strawley, who doesn't seem to be anywhere on the cover, but Christopher Strawley playing
as his mate
Bunny.
Yeah. Now we should say that it's an unusual series.
Yes.
In that you're meant to be on the side of the bad boys, aren't you?
Yeah. Basically, Raffles is a cricketer.
Yeah.
And an amateur cracksman.
Yeah, cracksman. That's a good
word. Which means he breaks into safes
and things.
And steals things, because he's never got enough money. He lives beyond his means, and
Dreadful.
I think he feels that because he's a cricketer, he should show up a good he should have a good lifestyle.
Yeah.
And obviously, being a cricketer doesn't pay that well. Because I don't think they actually got paid. I think they were sort of gentlemen.
Well, there was gentlemen and players, which were your professionals and your amateurs.
And he's an amateur.
Yeah, because he's a gent.
He's a gentleman, yes. So basically, they steal from the rich and
keep it.
They don't give to the poor. They steal from the rich, but mostly the people they steal from aren't very nice.
Yeah, does it say? Do they sort of?
Yeah, they
You can't really say deserve it, but
no, but they have enough money that they won't really miss this sort of jewellery or whatever it is that they've stolen.
Now, these are normally adapted from stories, aren't they?
Yes, based on, is it...
E.W. Hornung.
Yes.
And Philip Mackey does the adaptations.
Yes, Philip Mackey, granddad of Pearl.
Of Pearl Mackey.
But
this is unusual, and it's actually an original story.
Original story, yes. It's sort of based on. It's using the characters, but inventing some of it.
But we start with the title sequence, which has got that rather wonky freeze frame of Raffles outside his club.
Outside his club.
Well, not his club, it's where he lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he lives in the Albany.
He does, which was a very, very exclusive. I mean, I think it's still there, and it's still very, very exclusive. You have to have a lot of money to live there.
The title sequence also shows you some of the day for night filming they do in some episodes.
Dreadful. Yes, actually, this episode is exceptional in the fact there is night for night filming.
Actual proper night
filming, because there's a bit, and I can understand why they've done it, but he does a lot of climbing buildings.
Yeah.
And obviously
with his top hat
on, you don't want to risk your lead actor at night
falling.
Unfortunately, it's very sunny.
Yeah.
So
very bright blue sky for midnight.
Yeah.
But we open at night, and he's
Yes.
breaking into
somebody's bedroom
and I
or
put
study or
plinky
something.
plonky music.
Yes, sort of suspenseful music.
Yeah, he's doing some breaking and entering, and then
and
some
makes,
safe
he
cracking.
makes a little bit of noise getting in, doesn't he? He sort of cracks the sort of latch.
But he's
thing.
being watched, isn't he?
He is.
By
yes.
Inspector Mackenzie.
Yes, who's hiding in a cupboard.
And then can't get out.
He can't get out. Yeah, what does Raffles put something about the cupboard to stop him, or?
But by the time he gets out, Raffles has disappeared, doesn't he?
Yes.
So we then cut to Graham Crowden, who's the Home Secretary.
He is. And he's in the House of Commons.
Yeah, and he
And
refers.
it's very smoky.
Yeah.
They're all smoking their cigars and their pipes and things.
It's a very small House of Commons.
Well, yeah, there's a tiny bit of set, isn't
tiny
there?
bit of set.
Yeah. Can't afford to build a House of
And
Commons.
he's having fun playing this part.
He
Graham,
is having
isn't
fun.
he?
Yes. As we may have mentioned before, I don't think I've ever seen Graham Crowden do a performance that's anything less than
11.
Eccentric. I was going to say, but
And
yeah.
he says about these dastardly deeds must be punished,
Yeah.
and he's going to take steps.
Mhm.
And it turns out he's the same member of the club that Raffles and Bunny are.
He's a member of the same club.
Yeah.
He's not the same member of the club.
He's not the same member.
They're not all one member.
Because they're reading their papers and overhearing
They are,
him and
yes.
thinking he's a bit of an arse.
Yes.
And they think his suggested punishments would be barbaric
Yes.
if it was us.
Yes.
They're not saying it very quietly, are they?
No, they're not really, but then he's quite loud,
Yeah.
so it's all right.
But apparently all property is sinful, according
Yes.
to Raffles, because it's all got
Unless it's his, of course.
by robber barons.
Yes.
And there is a reference to Robin Hood.
Yeah.
But it turns out that Mackenzie's up for membership of the club, which they don't approve of.
No.
Imagine having his sort in there.
Yes.
So cut to them in their Raffles apartment.
Mhm.
They're playing some sort of dice game. I couldn't
Yeah.
work out what it
No,
was.
I don't know. I'm not very good with that sort of thing.
And they've got a big jar of Licorice Allsorts,
Yes.
haven't they?
Yes, of course.
Now,
Sorry, I think I might just knock the camera.
this is where
Anachronistic Liquorice
Yeah.
Allsorts.
because I just looked up Licorice Allsorts, and apparently Licorice Allsorts date to, well, the origin of them dates to 1899. Now there was a reference in the episode of Gold Cup to Queen Victoria's Jubilee.
Yes, because
Diamond Jubilee.
he sends. Well, I don't know if they actually said the Diamond Jubilee. They just said the
I think
Jubilee.
they do.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
in the original story, it's
Yeah.
the Diamond Jubilee,
And
which
they
would be 1897.
Because they steal a gold cup and then they
Yeah.
send it to her at the end, don't they?
But Raffles has got one of those calendars where you change all the dates
Oh,
on it,
okay,
and
yeah.
it says Friday the 11th of February, which, according to the way the calendars ran at the latter half of the 19th century, if it's Friday the 11th of February, that makes it 1898.
Okay.
So that's after the Gold Cup episode, which makes
Right,
sense,
yeah.
but before the invention of Licorice Allsorts.
Technically, yes.
And they're very 1977
Yeah,
Licorice
yeah,
Allsorts, because they're
yeah.
just like the ones
Yeah.
Tom Baker would have
Yeah.
in sort of Doctor Who around
They're
this
allowed
period.
one mistake.
Yeah. But yeah, anachronistic Licorice Allsorts. This is the detail we go into, isn't
Yes.
it? I'm proud of that, of cross-referencing dates and Licorice Allsorts. But they're talking about the Paxton jewels that he nabbed.
Yes.
So is that Lady Paxton or
Lady Paxton, who
Yeah.
happens to be the Home Secretary, who's Sir Arthur Rumbold, played by Graham Crowden, sister-in-law.
yeah. But outside the Albany, Mackenzie arrives and he's after Mr. Raffles,
Yeah, and he's got like
and he knows the way.
yeah, well, he goes there a lot, doesn't he? But I was just thinking, because he's got a cape on, hasn't he? Like an
A
Inverness.
cape on.
A cape, not a cape on.
That's
That's
a
a
chicken.
A cape. He's wearing a cape.
He's got a cape on.
And
He's
is
brought
it-
got a chicken on a lead.
Is it
Quack! Quack!
right? Can we get back to what we were talking about?
Yeah, you carry on.
Is he wearing an Inverness coat, cloak, cape?
I don't know.
Get it
I
right.
don't have one.
Because I remember Warren telling me when we watched the ITV Jack the Ripper with Michael Caine, because he wears like an Inverness
No way.
cape in that, and he said it'd be far out of his pay
Okay.
grade because it's like the sort of thing the gentry wear, but it's the sort of thing that people expect like Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
to wear, and that's what they were aiming for in that.
Okay.
So I just wonder, well, as he's Scottish, Mackenzie, anyway.
Right. But
Come back to that later.
Raffles and Bunny decide that their story is that on Tuesday night they were in the Turkish baths.
Yes.
Which is sort of true.
Yes. Yeah, what Raffles doesn't really like to tell too many lies. He's ridiculously honourable when it comes to that.
But yeah, sort of Mackenzie's
He's always
suspicious, isn't he?
Yes.
But he doesn't really get much out of them.
No, because he's
a bit dim.
He's not dim though, is he? He's not dim because he's worked out it's Raffles. He just
can't prove it.
He can't prove it. He's unlucky, I suppose.
But yeah, he's saying on about sort of penal servitude for cracksmen and things like that. But he then he goes away and then he comes back again.
He does.
Straight away.
He does. Well, he goes away and then comes back and says the thing, have you seen about Sir Arthur's speech? And what the punishments will be and stuff.
But cut to Raffles and Bunny in their carriage.
Yeah. Now again, they're in a hackney cab.
Yeah.
And they're talking about robbing somebody.
Yeah.
Can the driver not hear
He's
them?
not earwigging, no.
Or can he not hear over the horse?
But Raffles has made no preparations for this job.
No, he's doing it on the hop.
He's going to improvise.
Yeah.
But Lady Milford is having a knees up next door.
She is. Well, they get to the Home Secretary's house.
Yeah.
And then they realise that the people in the house next door are having a ball.
Yeah.
But they go up to the front of Sir Arthur's house because the outside lights been left on. Now, it seems to have electric light.
Yeah.
But I suppose electric light isn't around at this point, isn't it? It's starting to...
It's not impossible.
But
Raffles gets his keys out and gets in.
But he says to Bunny, stick to the grass verge and you have to walk on the gravel, don't use your heels.
Yeah.
They still make quite a lot of noise.
But yeah, they get into Graham Crowden's house.
Yeah. It's always the third key for some reason. Yeah. Skeleton key.
And then they sort of find a room which has got a Yale lock, which is the latest thing.
Yes.
So Raffles makes a hole in it the door.
He drills a hole with a hand drill and it makes sort of...
So he can open it from...
Yes, so he can put his hand through.
Then they find the safe, which is behind the picture of Lord Salisbury.
He's the Prime Minister.
And they open a window in case they need to make an exit.
But before... Bunny's about to do that, isn't he? But he says,
there might be bells on it.
Bells. So he finds a bell and he wraps a shirt or something around it, doesn't he?
They hope there's no alarm on the safe. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, you get a few shots of Graham Crowden coming home, don't you?
In his hackney carriage.
But they open the safe, there's no alarm, and they get the swag.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bunny has bolted the door, which leads to one of the funniest scenes.
Yes.
When Graham Crowden is doing his full Brian Blessed.
He's doing his full shouty shout.
Let me in!
He's banging on the door with his hand and his cane, isn't he? Then he nearly knocks his hat off at one point.
Can you hear me?
It's Sir Arthur!
The master! And then his hat falls off.
Well, it sort of falls and he catches it and pushes it back on again, doesn't he?
But the door is answered by...
Eric Chitty. Mm.
Has he got his dressing gown on or something?
I think so, yeah. Raffles says Bunny's a silly arse because he just wanted him to come in and go to bed. But obviously, we wouldn't have a story if it happened. So.
But then the peelers arrive, don't they? And then we see Graham Crowden's missus, who is Claire Davenport.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Raffles manages to get out, but Bunny has to hide in the cupboard.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
I don't know what Bunny's doing. Is he seen a light or a fly or a spider?
I don't know. He
or
doesn't
something?
get out. I don't know.
No, he's just. I don't know what he's doing. He's sort of listening to what's going on outside the door, and then gets himself trapped.
And Raffles goes to the party.
He does.
Where everybody's like jigging about, aren't they?
Yes. And then he finds Mackenzie.
Well, I was going to say he's goes and goes to hand his sort of hat and coat in because he's got to get a cloakroom ticket.
He gives it to a footman, and the footman takes it off and then brings him back a cloakroom ticket.
And Mackenzie turns up in full kilt and socks, doesn't he?
full Scottish dress.
Scottish socks.
Yeah.
And in the cloakroom.
Yes.
The cloakroom is being, I was going to say manned by, but he's not.
Being womaned.
Womaned by Erin Geraghty.
Yes.
From Angels. Who's playing Jane Brown here.
Yes, who will go on to be in Angels. Angels is after this, I think.
Oh, is it? Right.
Or around the same time, possibly.
Okay. So then the police arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And say about there's been a hullabaloo And they wonder
they're
what's
knocking
going
on the door, and Sir Arthur's not keen on letting them in, is he?
Yeah. Then they see the hole in the door.
Well, his missus sees it, doesn't
His
she?
missus sees it. And apparently Raffles is Jane's hero because she likes watching him play cricket.
Yeah.
He goes to smoke a fag and is told to go in the smoking room. But
the library.
But he goes outside.
Yes.
The safe is discovered, and I like the way that Graham Crowden's really worried that his papers may have been nicked.
Yes, my confidential papers.
Oh, it's all right. It's only your diamond necklace that's been stolen, and Claire Davenport does a brilliant scream.
Yeah, she lets out a bellow, doesn't she?
So.
And Raffles hears it next door.
So the policeman sort of is saying, "I'm not a detective," but Raffles gets Mackenzie over there.
Yes, he goes and gets Mackenzie because he knows he needs to go back
to get Bunny.
To get Bunny, so he needs to go back in the house. So he uses this as an excuse, grabbing Mackenzie to get back into the house.
I like the way also Claire Davenport says she's going to bed, and Graham Crowden's only to wake her to say he's found her necklace, and not for any other purpose.
Yes, and he sort of looks sheepish, doesn't he? He sort of does a little smile, like, oh.
Yes, who's wearing the trousers?
Oh,
in
she's
this
most definitely wearing the trousers. That's why he's so shouty outside of it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only chance he gets. He's very much under the thumb in his own home.
But Raffles says he saw a chap coming out of the window.
Yes, all dressed in black.
All in black with flaming red hair.
Yes. That's perhaps a detail too far.
And then he says he found in the gravel a box. And he
by the gate.
But he hands over the box.
Yeah.
And the box turns out to be his thieves' tools.
Yes, his cracksman's tools.
And they're sort of wondering, does he have an accomplice? And then we get this silly "Where's Bunny" routine.
Yes, because he needs to find out whereabouts he is. And there's 2 cupboards, isn't there?
They open the first cupboard and Mackenzie looks in there.
Yeah.
And I don't even work how they do it, because Mackenzie sort of stands side on to the next cupboard.
So basically, it's like the door's there.
Yeah.
Raffles is there, and Mackenzie's here. And he's got his back to the cupboard. Why doesn't he turn around?
Yeah,
Because
Raffles opens the door
and goes, "Oh no, nothing in there."
Despite being Bunny in plain sight.
Yeah. And then there's Mackenzie got no
Mackenzie
vision.
shuts the door with his back to it, doesn't he?
No, Raffles shuts the door.
Oh,
but Mackenzie doesn't look.
Doesn't even look. Yeah.
But he's almost like you should really. I mean, I don't have any peripheral vision.
Given that he doesn't trust Raffles.
Yeah, you think
to
he'd
do
look.
anything, you think he'd check.
You think he'd check, yeah.
But so that's the point at which you think, oh, Mackenzie doesn't deserve to win.
No, because he at this point he is a bit useless.
And I just put thick. Anyway, they all sort of swan off, don't they, to have a look round, and Bunny manages to get outside.
Yes.
And Raffles and Bunny sort of go back to the party, or head back to the party. And I like the way Mackenzie's sort of laying suspicion on Raffles and Bunny, and Graham Crowden keeps on objecting, but they're gentlemen, and they're members of my club.
Yes.
And he says, he doesn't want them to be villains, because socialists would claim that the upper classes were criminals, and we can't have that.
No, we can't have that.
That'd be the end of civilization.
It would be the end of civilization as we know it.
But Raffles goes to see Jane, and he goes to get his coat, but then he finds Mackenzie's bonnet, doesn't he?
He does.
And he sort of picks it up and laughs at it and puts it back.
He drops it on the floor.
And puts it back. Then he comes out again. He says he'll leave his coat here, and she's to look after it. I like the way she says it'll be as safe as houses, and he says houses aren't safe.
Yes. And he would know.
So he walks away with no coat on. Mackenzie sees him sort of leaving. This is outside now, so they search him and Bunny, and he's been told to arrest Raffles. Well, no, he's going to arrest Raffles sort of quietly.
Yeah.
Then he gets suspicious about where's your coat, and he gets the ticket, the cloakroom ticket. Bunny wonders whether we're done for, and Raffles says it's all rest with Jane now. Back to the house, Mackenzie goes to get the coat, but Jane won't have anything. Who are you? He shows her his ID, and that could be anything.
Yes.
I like the way she just doesn't trust him.
She's deeply suspicious, isn't she? Yeah.
And because she likes Raffles, she won't hear a word against him.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, he says, "It's all right, Jane. Get the coat."
Mm-hmm.
She gets the coat. The coat is searched, and there's nothing in it.
Yes. So then he searches Raffles again. Yeah.
And I'll get you one day.
Yeah. I'll get you, Missy.
Did we say that Mackenzie is Victor Carrin from the Gunfighters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he plays
Virgil.
Apparently
he's in Sutherland's Law a lot as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've not really seen Sutherland's Law.
No.
He's not the first Mackenzie though. We'll just talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. But Mackenzie, as his coat in his hat and whatever, Raffles helps him on with the coat, and gives him his bonnet. Yes. I like the way he says bonnet.
Bonnet.
And then off he goes because he hasn't caught Raffles. Raffles says he'll give Jane 2 tickets for the ladies' enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds like you keep ladies in a field.
Well, ladies
doesn't it?
sit in a different bit.
Yeah, it's just like you put them in a field.
Because they're delicate.
They're delicate.
They can't sit with the rough men. They have to sit in different bits.
Right, okay.
With just ladies.
And he gives her his buttonhole.
He does.
Which is a rose, isn't it? And
I believe so.
And off they toddle, and surprise, surprise, the necklace was in the bonnet, and Raffles palmed it, and off they go with the swag,
laughing at their own cleverness.
Yeah.
Or Raffles' cleverness, anyway. So.
But they're good fun, aren't they?
They
Raffles?
are good fun, and watching it, I should be a bit torn really, because normally when I watch these sort of things, I'm fully supportive of the policemen.
Of the peelers.
Yeah, but to be honest, Mackenzie doesn't deserve to catch Raffles, because I don't know why. It's the way it's written. They've made him an unlikable character, I suppose.
Yeah.
And as we said, he's not the first Mackenzie, because in the pilot episode, Mackenzie's played by James Maxwell, who's in Underworld, who can't do the accent.
Well, I can.
But he's an actor.
He's supposed to be.
He's supposed to be able to do an approximation of a Scottish accent.
It's that dangling rope scene, isn't it? It's sort of,
hello,
is it over a window?
What accent is that?
And that was actually quite an accurate impression, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can do bad accents. I can impersonate other people's bad accents.
The thing about James Maxwell is he's very good in Underworld.
Yeah.
But we've seen him in that, and we've seen him in Father Brown, and he's doing an American accent in Father Brown. Now, considering he was actually American, his American accent's rubbish. So I don't know what part in America he's supposed to be from. It's just odd. So maybe he'd lived in England too long, and accent's what he's fought on.
Right, his thing.
So,
but yeah, I enjoyed that as I was going. Graham Crowden
lifts it.
Yeah, I mean you get a lot of good guests.
Yeah, because you've got Robert Hardy.
Yeah.
Who is? I mean, we talked about this
that
on the
one's funny,
podcast.
Yeah.
But he's extraordinary because his character gets killed off
especially when he's dead. Yeah.
So he has to act dead for at least half of the episode, doesn't he?
Well, they're lugging him about.
And he has to keep lolling his head.
I'd love to see the outtakes for that.
Yeah, and you get Alfred Marks.
Yeah.
And
Peter Sallis.
Yeah. And it's another one of these things that if you like something with good guest stars and good stories, it's a good series. It's quite hard to get hold of now because it's been deleted.
But I think it's true that Philip Mackey is very much a seal
very good
of good writing, isn't it?
If you see Philip Mackey's name on something,
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's Raffles. Mm-hmm. Home Affairs.
Yes.
And we'll see you again.
Yes.
For something else.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.